Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are going to be doing a reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's reading. Know that simply by being present here with the reading, you are actually sharing your own energy and frequency with the reading today. And this means that you are actively co-creating all of the messages and pieces of information that come through. So I'm going to start today by shuffling the Energy Oracle cards deck. But I first want to say that a message that's been coming through so strongly, not just today, but I feel it's being re-emphasized today for someone for some reason. This message is we don't get to control the process of our own growth, our own expansion, the unfolding of our soul's purpose in this lifetime. And I just feel as though I'm hearing control is contradictory to this stage of your soul's expansion. So, at this stage of your spiritual journey, you are being asked to completely surrender control of the process as you follow your intuition one step forward into the dark at a time. And this always sounds so simple when we say it, but it's not simple in practice because it requires a great deal of courage. It also requires the confidence to go against the grain, to do things differently from what we've been taught and trained by society or the people around us, to not be afraid to stand out in the way that we are operating within our lives. And for some reason, those words, stand out, are really being highlighted here. So for someone listening, maybe at this time, you are being required to stand out in some way. And I'm hearing you will know that this is for you because however you're being required to stand out. Now, of course, this could be interpreted in so many different ways. This could be sharing something with the world online, sharing your voice, putting yourself out there in some way, following some dream, goal, objective in life. But whatever this is for you, you will know that this message is for you because you will receive confirmation in terms of the response you get from the fabric of your universe, your reality, as you move in that direction. So I know we're talking already at really a quantum level here. Someone must really be manifesting through these higher level quantum messages here already at the beginning of the reading, but essentially let's kind of flesh this out here. So what we mean is when you begin to release control and take those steps forward into the dark, into the unknown, but of course you are being intuitively guided, so it appears like the dark in your reality, but from an intuitive perspective, you on a soul level know exactly where you're going. It's just that consciously you aren't able to register that entire roadmap. You're only being given it one step at a time, but this confirmation we're talking about is a shift in how, I'm calling it here, how the fabric of your universe or your reality will begin to respond to you differently as you keep taking steps forward in that direction. So this is one of those quantum subjects that's really difficult to find the words to explain, but essentially, when you are living in alignment with your soul's purpose, with your highest vibrational timeline, when you are taking those confident steps forward, it's almost like the universe will reward you with signs of confirmation. You can almost think of these as signposts along the roadway. So even though you don't necessarily know exactly how every segment of this soul road trip here is going to look, as you continue on that pathway moving forward, the universe will send you signposts of confirmation. And these signposts will be in the form of a shift in how people, things, in the world around you begin to respond to you. My guides are saying you'll be able to sense when you're in quote unquote the right reality and quote unquote the wrong reality. And I know this is a strange way of wording it. Again, it's one of those subjects that is so quantum and so high level, energetically based, that it's difficult to find the physical human words to describe these experiences, as I know many of you are familiar with in your own lives, because so many of you are channeling spiritual information in some way, whether you are doing that through a medium like this on YouTube on your own channel, or whether it is through your art, through the way you converse or interact with others or live your life. But regardless, many of you are very familiar with the idea of receiving a very high level piece of information that can be difficult to translate into physical 3D human words in a way that other people can understand. Now, of course, my guides are now stepping in to say this is also why our relationship with language is changing. Now, I don't want to go too far down a completely separate but somewhat related rabbit hole here. But okay, for some reason, my guides want me to go here. So we need to talk about conversation and language and communication with others, and how as we've been shifting collectively, increasingly more of our conversation and communication with others has actually been entirely telepathic. Well, I shouldn't say entirely, because, well, really the communication is entirely telepathic, but then it manifests itself in physical form. When I talk about telepathy, what I mean is the way that we are energetically interacting with others in the quantum field. So, yes, even in earlier stages of the collective ascension, when we were still more relying on physical human words in conversation, even in those earlier stages, yes, we had these telepathic bonds and connections that were really dominantly influencing the way that these relationships were appearing in the physical 3D world. But as we've been moving into an increasingly energy-based kind of system collectively, we are finding that this whole dynamic of soul telepathy is amplified, and what it's doing is it's actually causing the physical components of our communication, meaning our words, our conversations, etc., to at times feel burdensome or even unnecessary. So, what I mean by this is you no longer are feeling even capable of explaining yourself to a person with words, with physical human words, who isn't on your frequency on a deeper level. If that telepathic soul understanding isn't there with a person, it just feels burdensome, it feels laborsome to attempt to use human words, argument, rationalization, conversation to explain yourself to that person. It feels increasingly impossible to do, and even just like a burden that we aren't willing to even take on anymore, because it requires so much energy to attempt to explain ourselves to another person. And in these cases, we are discovering that there is this pattern of them not hearing us, or them not being able to understand us anyway. And this is because the universe is trying to teach us something, to connect the dots between those that we have a deeper soul bond with, that kind of natural telepathy with that we're talking about, those that we're on a similar frequency to connect the dots between that connection and then the ease of our communication with those people. And the reverse as well, to notice that when we're not on the same frequency as someone telepathically, that bond isn't really solid in the quantum realm, to notice how much effort we can expend trying to run circles in our conversation with them, only to feel as though we're getting nowhere. And all of this is meant to actually move us to a place where we no longer feel the need whatsoever to attempt to explain ourselves to someone who isn't on our frequency. In fact, this is an old program of the ego, in a sense, that's being rewritten or being overwritten, because the ego likes to attempt to explain itself even when the soul recognizes that the person we're trying to communicate with isn't on our level. It's like the ego wants to win an argument with logic or to rationalize or defend or justify itself. But the soul recognizes that that is an expenditure of energy that could be better utilized and invested in ourselves and our soul purpose, in feeding the connections in our lives that actually feed us back and support us and connect with us on what we're calling here that deeper telepathic level. You are going to notice, though, a major contrast in your life between those individuals that the communication just feels effortless with, where you feel as though it's not even really possible to say the wrong thing because it's not about the words. They truly understand you on a deeper level without this need to over explain yourself. But there's going to be a contrast set up increasingly between that and the individuals that you may have been trying to maintain this kind of artificial 3D based connection with without there being some deeper frequency bond between your souls. Something else to note is that you are really going to begin noticing how you truly are meeting people first in the quantum realm at the soul level through the subconscious mind, and then simply manifesting the physical fruitions, the physical manifestations of those meetings, conversations, interactions in the physical world. But you are becoming more deeply aware of how you are meeting people in soul first. It's almost like one of those things where you can see someone in passing on a regular basis, and maybe you smile at them or make eye contact with them, and it's like this energy is exchanged, and you can sense that you're on the same frequency as this person. It's almost like your souls are meeting even if you aren't speaking physically, and there is this bond being developed. You are becoming embedded in each other's subconscious, so to speak, and this will naturally unfold itself into physical manifestations of interaction. So you'll notice the process of how you are meeting and connecting with people, and how that is really actually beginning in the quantum realm, how it's starting through your subconscious mind. It's going to be very interesting as we collectively are becoming more consciously cognizant of the way in which we are connecting and relating with and manifesting these connections into our lives. Now, my guides kind of wanted to correct me there and say, it's not just you manifesting connections into your life. Actually, you are being manifested into many people's lives at this time. So if you've noticed that suddenly you've been introduced to or meeting or connecting with a lot of new people out of the blue and the physical, or maybe that you've been feeling guided to do that, guided to socialize more, to put yourself out there more, to meet new people, to introduce yourself, to get out there in the world. This isn't actually entirely something coming from within you intrinsically. It's you, I'm hearing, answering a call. I'm hearing a call for leadership in the physical realm, although it might not look like traditional leadership, like you being in a traditional status position, although it could be that for some of you. But I'm talking about spiritual leadership. I'm talking about the fact that you've truly done the inner work. You've shifted to a place where you're carrying this very high vibrational frequency, but it's almost like you've been this, I'm hearing, hidden gem. Almost like when you go to a new city and there's always those spots that the locals know about that they'll refer to as like a hidden gem, some place that tourists don't really know about, that a lot of people aren't aware of, but it's like the most amazing, beautiful place. And I feel that for a while you've been kind of like a hidden gem, a kind of like, if you know, you know, there are rare people who have had this access to you, who have known just how special and valuable and rare you are. But it's almost like you've been, well, the words hidden and protected are coming up simultaneously. So, yes, you've maybe felt like a hidden gem, sort of hidden away from the world, but this has also been a protective shield for you, a protective shield to really help you come into full alignment with your baseline frequency, with who you really are at the core, and to really connect with that fully so that you can then connect with others from that self-connected place, if that makes sense. So I feel as though, again, you've been either hidden or protected in terms of energy and frequency from the world, and this has given you a chance to really clarify who you are to yourself on a soul level, to really come into your own self-love, self-empowerment, self-confidence. But now you're reaching this stage where you are being pushed into that position of leadership, where the high level frequency you've developed within yourself is meant to be shared with the world. And again, this might be that push you've been getting to do or create or move or take steps forward in certain ways that the universe will be confirming back to you with signs. Okay, so I know we kind of cut off on this tangent, although I don't feel it was really a tangent because I feel it was actually really necessary for someone listening to hear that. Do let me know in the comments, by the way, if anything here has been connecting with you so far in a personal way. I do love hearing from you in the comments section, and I know that if you're still listening to this point in the reading, most likely there are definitely some messages for you in today's reading video. But also, I usually say this at the beginning, but if you do want to tie your frequency in with the reading in a stronger way, which means manifesting more specific messages, not just from this reading, but from future reading videos as well, I do recommend liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as these are forms of energetic transference that do tend to allow me to pick up more easily on your energy and channel more specifically for you and your situation. Okay, so I'm going to be shuffling the cards here as we're speaking, although believe it or not, we've not even pulled a single card. There have just been so many rapid fire downloads coming through for different people. So as I always say, thank you so much for your part in this co-creative process, this mutually supportive, uplifting, beautiful community that we have here on YouTube. If you are feeling guided, by the way, to go deeper with these messages, I always channel an extended version of these readings in our Soul Tribe on Patreon. So I have these main collective readings here on the channel that are public on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But on those times and days as well, I do channel extended versions of the readings on Patreon, and that link to the extended reading is in the pinned comment and description box underneath the video. Okay, so before we get into the cards, actually, I need to channel another download that's been coming up as we've been speaking. I've been picking this up from someone somewhere. Okay, essentially, we talked about that time during your spiritual journey where you were more hidden or protected, depending on the kind of wording you want to use and how you want to conceptualize that. But now that you're being revealed to the world, I'm hearing the hiding and the protecting is being lifted. Of course, that's not to say you're not divinely protected, because you are, but the training wheels are coming off in a sense. And at times we can feel like we're kind of scraping our knee, just like learning to ride a bike without training wheels. It's necessary for us to have this period of adjustment where we are gaining our balance. And where does our balance come from? It comes from our core, like when we're riding a bike and you are finding that center of gravity within yourself, finding that core and focusing on that. But I'm also thinking of how when someone is riding a bike, they have to be, yes, engaging that core of themselves, but also focused ahead, not around them, not behind them. but focused ahead to maintain their balance, to stay steady. It's like they have this steady sight. And so, what I'm picking up from this is as the training wheels are being removed from your life, in a sense, as you are learning to, I'm also getting the imagery of someone giving themselves the keys to a really nice car, like some kind of super fancy sports car or something like that. I'm not really a car person, but you can envision that it's almost like the person giving you the keys is actually you on your highest timeline. It's your future version of self. And it's almost like your future self is saying, here are the keys to your life. The training wheels are coming off. Everything that you desire is now here and accessible to you. There are no limits for you now. And it's almost like they're telling you, again, this they being the future version of you is telling you, you're ready for this now. You're ready for these keys. You're ready for the training wheels to come off. You've learned how to drive. You've learned how to ride the bike. Not to be mixing too many metaphors, but I really love both of those metaphoric images that are being downloaded right now. It's like your future self is telling you, you're ready now. Now, what does this mean? This means before you weren't ready. This means before you wanted to drive the car or you wanted to ride the bike without training wheels. And it's almost like you were at a red light. It's almost like your guides were saying, no, I know that you want that, but you need more training. You need to be kind of shielded or protected at this time in a different kind of way so that you can find your core. But now you've found that core, you've gone through the training, you've done the inner work, and you're being handed the keys to your dream life. It's all available to you, it's all within you. You now hold the keys. But the irony coming up here is you've been in this previous phase for so long that it might feel a little uncomfortable to have everything that you've ever wanted. What I mean by that is to have this level of access when it comes to manifesting, to know that you now have access to do or have or create whatever you want, to feel that power, to kind of rev that engine. It might feel a little intimidating at first. And strangely, it's almost like there can be this egoic part of our minds that tries to put us back in a prison, that tries to kind of lock ourselves back up or hide ourselves away again, or like give the keys back and say, you know what, I'm just going to keep the training wheels on because I don't feel ready. But the thing is, that reality with the training wheels is now quote unquote your wrong reality. It's not going to respond to you the same way because it was once a training exercise, but now that you've gone through the training, now that you've grown to the point where you're ready to take the wheels off, you are being kept stagnant by those same tools that once assisted you in your growth. Wow, that is a major message for someone. I feel the need to really repeat that. You are being kept stagnant by some of the same tools and things and resources that once facilitated your growth. So this might be a powerful exercise for someone to really analyze what things in my life were those training wheels. What things in my life helped me to get to this point, helped me to stabilize my core, helped me to gain my footing, my balance, taught me to drive in a sense, that are now being removed from my life. And yes, I say removed because the divine is removing these things from your life. It's like taking the wheels right off and giving you the push. And that is why at times right now your reality feels so unbalanced. It's not that anything is going wrong. It's that just like that kid learning to ride a bike, yes, you're going to scrape your knee a couple times in the process, but ultimately you're going to be able to move so much faster. And not only that, but you're going to get to the places that you've always wanted to go. So a main message coming through in this reading is not to allow your familiarity with this current phase that's now ended, or your fear of the next phase that you're being pushed into, to not allow those things to prevent you from grabbing the keys of your life and getting started, getting moving in that direction that you feel yourself being pushed in. And again, as you move in that direction, you are going to receive signs of confirmation. So Once again, we've gone off on this little chase here down another rabbit hole. Although nothing is really a rabbit hole, I feel like we're exploring different aspects of your evolution and your spiritual journey. You know what else is really interesting? I know if you've been following the channel for a long time, we talked a lot in, let's say, maybe like a year ago or a year and a half ago, we kept getting this downloaded imagery of a red light, and we talked about how you might be felt as though you're stuck at a red light, like things in your life are stagnant, but that you're actually being evolved internally, prepared for what you're going to be moving into. Well, it's strange because you'll notice that the imagery collectively in these readings has really shifted from that red light to that we're taking the training wheels off and going, to that you're being pushed into something. So, of course, we're all on different waves and timelines, and I always say use your own intuition when it comes to determining how to apply these messages. But needless to say, the training wheels are coming off, collective. We are really being pushed into something, and many of us are having that experience of feeling a little unsteady in it, feeling like it's a little new, like we're still getting our bearings a bit, like we're feeling this push, and it's exhilarating and exciting, and it's also a little bit scary, and it also leaves us feeling like we're kind of tumbling off the bike a few times. And that's okay because it's all part of this process of gaining our footing. But you have to allow yourself to move in the direction that you're expanding into, even if you get a few scraped knees, even if it feels a little unsteady at times, because you will gain your footing. But also, this is part of your soul's purpose. What you are being pushed into is actually your dream timeline. Sometimes my guides have called this your ultimate manifestation timeline. It's the timeline where you are literally manifesting into physical form everything that you've ever desired all at once, harmoniously on that same timeline. All of those childhood dreams, things that you may have left buried, every essence of everything that you've wanted is beginning to pop itself out from the earth, so to speak, like those seeds you planted, and manifesting into physical form. Now, for many of you listening, you're already feeling the exhilaration of that beginning to happen. You're feeling like we've been channeling your future self, giving you the keys to that dream timeline, to that dream life. But this actually can come with some fear. It can come with fear when we suddenly have access to everything that we desire. It's this fear of, how will people react to me when I'm becoming so seen or so known or so heard in the world? Because your frequency is being revealed. You are being revealed to the world. You may have in the past tried to share a dream, tried to share your art, your music, to do something, and it may have felt like it flopped or felt like it didn't quite go where you wanted it to go, or like you were almost being blocked. These were those training wheels that you had on, but the universe has removed the training wheels, and now when you do the same things you tried before, you're going to receive completely different results. And I think on some level you know that. And that's why some of those fears have been coming up, because you know deep down that something has shifted, that whatever you apply your mind to is actually now going to manifest. So there is a little bit of intimidation. It's like getting asked on a date by someone that you really want to romantically connect with, but then getting really, really nervous to actually see them in person on that date, to wonder what kind of impression you're going to leave and how you're going to interact. It's like you're getting exactly what you want, but now there are these nerves coming up. Those nerves aren't your intuition telling you to back down. That is actually your soul pulling you in the direction of everything you've ever desired, and your ego being melted away, being deconstructed to allow you to fully move forward into this. See yourself as worthy of having everything that you've ever desired, because it is coming to you on this dream timeline, on this manifestation timeline. And by the way, congratulations for making it here, because these videos in themselves are signposts for you. They're confirmation for you along your path. So if you are aligning with this and this has been resonating this far into the reading, this is your sign of confirmation that you've, in essence, been given the keys to your dream timeline, to that manifestation timeline we've been describing. And now it's all about just having the courage to keep stepping forward. And wow, what powerful messages have been coming through the reading. This is one of those rare readings where the energy that you brought to the table here and the way that you shifted recently has been so powerful that it wasn't even necessary to draw a single card. This was all just channeled information, which of course is coming through because so many of you beautiful, inspiring, uplifting people out there all over the world have been bringing your energy to this channel. And I just want to take a moment here at the end of this very, I feel, impactful reading for many of us and say a huge thank you, because this channel is you. It is all of us. And I am so grateful that we've been able to share this journey together, as scary and uncertain as it can be at times. That support is just invaluable, and I'm so grateful to all of you. So I am going to be pulling one card because I know many of you, including myself, love the Rumi deck. So I will pull one card from here and channel a message just to leave us with something here. But I also want to let you know that I'm going to be continuing this channeling on Patreon. Leaving this whole video open-ended has felt very powerful. It's just felt right for this reading. So I'm going to do the same thing on Patreon. In today's reading, we're just going to be leaving the Patreon reading very open-ended so that you can bring your own powerful energy and intentions to that reading, and we can just see what comes through there together. So if you do feel guided to join me after this in our beautiful soul tribe on Patreon, the link to do so is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. So let's pull one final Rumi Oracle card here. I'm hearing you can't revert back to less than life has caused you to become. That might be an Abraham Hicks quote as well, but I just want to channel one final message from the Rumi Oracle card, Passion of the Wild Red Mother. So let's read from the guidebook here. Lots of fiery energy. Maybe someone has fire sign energy in their chart, or someone you're connected to is a fire sign. Or maybe this just represents the fire of your own passion really being ignited right now. So the guidebook says, don't ask the conscious ones about the wine. Behold the glowing effect of it in the eyes of the drunks. Rumi. Oh, I'm hearing, don't ask people who don't get it to understand. Don't attempt to receive understanding from people who don't get it, which of course I know we're speaking very oversimplistically there, but it really takes me back to that concept of not needing to explain yourself to those who are not connecting with you at the level of frequency and therefore don't have the ability to hear you anyway. Okay, so the guidebook also says, passion is the bridge that leads you from a smaller truth that suffering is necessary in order to heal towards a larger and more luscious experience of life as a divine embrace. If you are able to rise to the passion that is possible for you, you'll let the wild red mother consume your philosophies and doctrines. With a daring and bold love for life that will not be quashed, that wild red mother speaks to you now. You can choose passion over fear time and time again. Wow, that just gave me a wave of chills. I'm going to read that line again. You can choose passion over fear time and time again. So I invite you to paint the world red with me, with passionate nature. Let us laugh and change the world. This oracle comes to you with a message. It is a big cosmic yes. It now has a purpose, that of passion, which calls you to engage in the embrace of life with more abandon than ever before. Now is the time to let go of belief systems and needing to know anything. It is the time to trust in the beating of your own heart. and in the people, places, and experiences that truly move you, whether it makes sense or appears to be logical or not. Wow, what a message to close the reading. I feel like I just needed to take a breath after that. Thank you so much to all of you for being here. I hope you have an amazing, wonderful remainder of your day and, of course, your week. And again, I will be continuing this on Patreon, so you can join me in that reading by following the link in the pinned comment or description box underneath the video. You can subscribe if you resonate with my energy. I'd love to have you here, part of our beautiful YouTube community. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post more energy updates, inspiration, and information. Otherwise, I will connect with you here again in the next reading.